Speakers Galen, Kelly, to be followed by Kaika Welch. Aloha.
Aloha. All honor and respect to Hawaiian spirituality, and may a way be found for all invasion against you to stop. I guess I first want to say that I am kind of shocked hearing testimony in favor of this after the presentation that was given. It's a little bit like saying the sun is going to come up tomorrow and them saying, no, it's not. It feels that blatant to me that they're not able to see the reality of the risks, and that they can still throw their support behind it is astounding. I'm kind of looking at this in a philosophical way tonight, and just in terms of the times we are in. It seems like even globally there are so many assaults on life that we're all being called to the table of integrity to come forth and make a stand for that which is pro-humanity and pro-Aina. And no one is exempt. We're not just here by happenstance. We're here because dire situations brought us together to come to try and save ourselves. And people want to know that their representatives are looking out for them. And by that I mean, are you willing to stand up against greed and power and anything that harms life and be there for us? We've been betrayed on so many levels. I put this geothermal endeavor right up there in the category with the other things that have harmed us. The oil industry, we know the Gulf of Mexico is dying now because of deep water drilling. The natural gas industry is polluting aquifers. Some areas have people, they turn on their faucets in their kitchens, and if you put a match to it, flame occurs because it's so toxic. And of course, probably the worst of them all, the nuclear industry that is radiating the planet as we speak. Chernobyl, Fukushima, Japan, they're fighting for their lives. And this is no different. It might not have the grand scale that those have, but it's still very life-threatening. So some of us are asking you what you can do to turn this around, what you can do to stop it, how you can stand up to the state, how you can stand up to the feds and be involved with the locals. And the consequence of you doing that is you will sleep good at night. I also would like to say, in regards to the sign in the back of the room, respect, give respect to that. I just probably would add, give respect where respect is due, because the company that is doing this to us has shown great disrespect, and I do not respect that. But thank you.
To be followed by Jeffrey last. Aloha.
Aloha, my name is Kaika. I tend to hyperventilate at these things. We'll see how I do that. So I have an organic farm. I live about 1 mile from the proposed geothermal site at Four Corners, and that puts me pretty close to the one that already exists. I have friends who do support the geothermal. They say it provides cheap energy, which is important, and that it's a local source. I don't support geothermal. So I just want to tell you how it's going on the farm. We have over 300 chickens, and I sell the eggs. We raise them using Korean natural farming methods, and that technology is magical, truly magical. And yet we are operating at a loss. How many days can we continue? I don't know. My eggs are priced too high for people to buy, but I'm here to tell you that they are priced honestly. The eggs most people buy are not honest. I'm sorry to say that I see it that way. When you scratch the surface of modern agriculture, you will find government subsidies, slave labor, and externalities. And that's the word that sets me off, externalities. You see, I'm the egghead that went to college to study economics. They told me that externalities are things like environmental damage, and that those costs don't have to go in the sales price. I call it cheating. They say, don't worry, externalities are small and inconsequential. I've got a new term to define for the economics people. It's called the day of reckoning. The definition, it's the point in time when an economy or an environment collapses resulting from the accumulation of externality costs. Cheap eggs are made with technologies that quite literally kill the land. Learn about chemical and GMO technologies. They kill the land, and there are costs associated with killing land. We think we're getting ahead in the game, buying cheap food, but in the end our health suffers and our children are growing up with degenerative diseases and increasing sterility. Cheap food, cheap energy, all the same to me. What we benefit does not offset the externality costs in the end. The geothermal pollutes our groundwater. It pollutes our oceans, our air, and our soil. I can do with a lot less electricity. I cannot do without healthy air, water, and soil. I say no to geothermal, and I pay homage to the thousands of Hawaiians who lived healthfully and respectfully on this island not long ago with no electricity. Right on.
Aloha.
My name is Jeffrey Last. I've lived here since 1984.
Hi, Geoff.
You have seen the pollution. Oh, aloha, County Council. Thanks for coming out. I really do appreciate this in our hometown here. You have seen the pollution that was dumped on the ground in the early 90s. You have seen how this company dumped its pollution in the air. You saw pictures of school buses driving through that pollution in the 80s and early 90s. My sons were on those buses. We, the community, not the Department of Health, not civil defense, and not our elected officials, had to come to our own defense. We had to get arrested. We had to sue them in different courts to get the pollution rules to protect our children and community. You have heard about New Zealand and the health issues they have around their geothermal plants. You have heard about the health issues to women. There are many reports about the effects of pollution coming from geothermal from many sources. You just need to look for them. You have heard that the EPA says that the nearest community should be maybe 10 miles from the plant, not 2,000 feet. I have heard the allegation that workers from PGV have to sign a secrecy agreement when going to work there. Certainly the production methods are straightforward. Steam turns turbines that produce electricity, not proprietary information. If problems and pollution releases are happening and not being reported, maybe this should be looked into. Why secrecy? Good thing to look into. What about the non-existent or poorly thought out emergency response plan? Is it adequate? Will it protect the community? What about monitoring? You now know the true nature of the gas that comes from geothermal and all the heavy metals and pollutants that are in them. Do you really think that these gases, even in small regular doses, pose no risk to the community? What about the questions of reinjection? Anyone who lives here knows that the ground under us is like a Swiss cheese. Where is the reinjection going and coming up? This is the most active volcano on the face of the earth. What happens in Lower Puna when Pele takes it all? Maybe should we not put all our eggs in one defective basket? Finally, and most importantly, what about indigenous people's rights? How would you feel if someone came into your church and threw a bag of horse manure on your altar? Someone who favors geothermal told me that the biggest air polluters on the island are the existing energy plants. I did not disagree with him. I do agree that we need to do something about our energy needs. We have given you other ideas which can save energy while producing energy, thus spending our tax dollars in truly sustainable ways. How much money is the grand plan going to cost? Could that more be used to other energy methods that benefit the community and not just companies and politicians promoting geothermal as one answer? We need to step outside this box of fear and look at other methods of producing energy. Stop following the party line. Geothermal is not safe and clean. It's not cheap. These thought forms about centralized power could be modified. I thought geothermal was great until the blowout.
Thank you, sir.